Good day everyone, I am Ricardo Hammond, and in this video, I will be discussing about processibility theory. And processibility theory is a linguistic theory developed by Manfred Piniman. And this theory explains how learners acquire and process language in a specific order.
Processibility theory.
The processibility theory is a psycholinguistics framework that aims to predict the developmental sequence of any second language. And this theory proposes that the human brain possesses a linguistic processor which has constraints in its ability to perform specific language processing tasks.
Processibility theory describes the sequence in which the language processor develops an L2 acquisition by means of a hierarchy. This presentation will explore the assumptions posited by the processibility theory and mention some of the language education implications posed by the theory. In the past, approaches such as contrastive analysis, error analysis, morpheme order studies have had the goal to figure out patterns specific to human language. However, most of them have focused almost exclusively on the language as the subject of study. Processibility theory focuses on the cognitive processes inherent to the learners itself and how far they can develop their language learning capabilities. The key idea behind the processibility theory is that language acquisition is enabled by a linguistic processor located in the human brain. However, this processing device has limitation in its processing capabilities. PT is a psycholinguistic framework that aims at predicting the universal development stages for second languages of a hierarchy. And now, let's check its developmental hierarchy. This developmental hierarchy follows the next sequence. We have acquisition of individual words, access to grammatical structures, phrasal or word assembly procedure, the S procedure, the subordinate clause procedure.
Now in stage 1, learners are limited in their production of words or formulaic expressions. For example, their mean, play, dog, cute, take, they, and etc. Stage 2. At this stage of development, learners begin to produce strings based on canonical word order. For example, the oyster, tasty, walk there, myself, to watch, comes. Stage 3. Learners are able to place prepositional phrases, WH words, or adverbs before canonical word order. For example, I eat carrots rarely. I read the book. In stage 4, learners can exchange informations across constituent boundaries such as phrasal verbs and noun clauses. For example, I will help you. Place it on the table. And now, for the final stage of development, the learner can distinguish between subordinate and main clauses and can also make use of them. For example, if I agree to this, there's no going back. Given the circumstances, she should hide. In conclusion, processibility theory is ultimately an approach that focuses on the learner's information that will promote this process. As a universal framework, processibility theory aims to predict the constraints that all language learners will face in their development process. And by predicting the sequence of language development, we can anticipate potential hardships that students may encounter, enabling educators to provide targeted support.